Hello and welcome to another episode of Code. My name is Wana Mudura and today we are talking about Industry 4.0, mainly the trends happening in Industry 4.0. So what is 4.0? It is basically the technological aspect introduced into industry. So it's not the industrial revolution, it's the technological revolution happening in industry. So it started a long time ago, mainly in 2010, and it's now getting a lot of momentum, especially with COVID-19 acceleration of the whole process of digitalisation. But we are already in the phase where almost everything is embedded with technology. What is the next step? Where is it all heading? What are the trends? What is expected? What is the road to get there? So today's topic is going to be very interesting, and I'm staying at a long and meaningful conversation with the guys from OCTAVIC. This is a production efficiency tracking software. They're from my hometown, and I'm proudly introducing them on a conversation on optimization, the road to sustainability through digitalization for industry. So here I am today in a new talk at Kult with the guys from OCTAVIC, Felix and Paul. They are from Romania. So we are talking in English because this is for everybody and especially dedicated to people in industry. So hello from Orada, hello from Denmark.
Hello.
Hi, Wana. Thanks for the invitation, for having us here.
Hi and welcome. I'm very glad to have you here. It was quite a nice coincidence to meet you online and offline. We met accidentally at my sister's party in the garden. So it was a great coincidence. Before we spoke in the email about this recording, and yeah, it was just like a sign for us to do the show here. So welcome, guys. You run OCTAVIC. It's a production efficiency tracker, but please, explain it to me like to an 80-year-old. What does it do?
So basically, what we do, it's a platform to optimize production. And maybe the question is why we do it in the first place. Then why we do it? Because we truly believe that we can reduce waste and make people's life better on the factory floor. So that's actually our main driver. And what it is, it's just a system that helps people in production to understand better what is going on through data collected from the equipments. And one example is, for example, stoppages or rejects or outputs in production, parameters from the process. It collects all of this, also information from people, context, and then this information is used to optimize production in different ways, like reaction time. So when you see a problem, to be able to react, to understand which are the problems that have the highest impact during your production, and then to help you to plan and adjust what you do every day based on historical data, based on data collected in real time. You would like to have a system that guides you on how to adjust on when these anomalies are happening.
Mm-hmm.
And more than this, I would say it's putting these technologies in this area of Industry 4.0 that everyone is talking about right now. It's putting these technologies at work to really help people all across the factory. So at all hierarchical levels, operate much more efficiently daily and generally have a better work life.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you have a lot of clients in pharmaceutical industry. Okay, let's say I produce pharmaceuticals, how do you implement a software like yours? Like, what are the steps?
Yeah, so the steps range from preparation and on to adoption. So we start with the preparation phase, the fit phase with our customer, where we'll go and map our product. We have one product, one system that is deployed on all our customers' installations. And we'll have this preparation phase with the customer for deployment. We will map how to configure, how to implement our system. Then we actually go do it. So we will go on site and implement. There's a small hardware part and there's a big software part. We'll go there, do it, then provide training to different user groups, let's say, different people in the factory, key roles.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll be a partner for the long term. So we'll start with let's say adoption phase, hypercare phase, immediately after deployment, and then we'll go on forward with the partnership for a longer term.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is a software that you use it a lot in pharmacy industry, but is applicable to basically all industry, all production factories.
Yeah, it's applicable to any kind of industry. So from completely manual processes to completely automated. And each of these processes, it has different phases. You have different phases in a production process. You have different key performance indicators. But basically what you are trying to do is to understand which are your, what is causing issue, which are your issues every day, and how to tackle them. And that's our target, to help these people to react faster when something is happened, and to understand historically what has happened, why it has happened, and guide them on how to react and how to manage the situation.
And this has been in our product design philosophy from the beginning. So actually we started with some manual processes, and now we ended up lately doing implementations on completely automated processes. This has been one of our key points in the product design philosophy, to be able to cover any type of process, and to have only one product, one system that will be customized by configuration.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to ask you about the state of the industry. How smart is it?
Basically, I would say not so smart. So these similar systems have been in the industry for 40 years. The rate of adoption was actually quite low. So we have what is called manufacturing execution systems that have been there for a lot of time. And many companies have been really reluctant to adopt such systems because they were very easy, very hard to implement, very costly, difficult to operate, and so on. And the rate of the adoption due to this is quite low. And what we have now, we have a new wave in this around Industry 4.0, where you have a lot of new solutions that are a lot more user-friendly, easier to install. The cost of hardware has decreased. The software, it's easier to be built. And now there is a high opportunity in terms of how easy it is to implement such a system, how much it can help you, and to what needs it fits.
Yeah, but you still have a lot of systems, even in these factories that are, let's say, early adopters. You have a lot of systems that are focused on providing data. So you have a lot of charts, data pushed to cloud, all kind of graphs and so on. But a lot of them are lacking the human information, the context from the factory floor. And that's an invaluable addition to all the data to give you like real human context and pointers, and how you can use the information embedded in those data to drive optimizations in your factory.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we live in the European Union. How's EU supporting the transition to smart factories, to digitalization, to optimization? Are there any funds available? Are there programs installed? With the COVID, has anything happened faster than before to accelerate this transition?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, let's start from the big picture. Now we hear everyone talking about Industry 4.0 since I think it was 2010 when Germany introduced this as their national strategy for the industry. And now we are getting a new, let's say, buzzword or term. We're getting Industry 5.0, which is, yeah, let's call it an extension of the previous term.
Okay, what's the difference?
Sorry?
What's the difference?
Yeah, it's something like an extension with focus on how to use all these technologies described in this umbrella term, Industry 4.0, how to use them to drive social and workplace well-being impact for the people, and how to use them for environmental impact. So this is starting to grow as a directive from the EC, and then at national level, also at European level, we are seeing an increase in the number of grants and funds available for such initiatives, and not only research or experimental development, but also implementation.
Mm-hmm. Like stimulants for the factories.
Yeah, yeah.
And also a lot of the grants, for example, here are a lot of micro grants, which are targeted towards stimulating innovation. And some of these grants we have accessed in the past, and also now we have some of them. The ones that we have now are more around predictive maintenance and how to schedule production using predictive data from the equipment. And yeah, we try to embed into our product as much artificial intelligence and machine learning as we can to stimulate the decision, to help the decision-making process.
Mm-hmm. Could you explain a bit how artificial intelligence and machine learning works in a software like yours?
Yeah, I can quickly explain.
For everybody to understand. So
for everybody to understand, basically, machine learning is about to find some patterns. And we collect the data from the equipment and from the operators. And then we label this data that, okay, we had this situation with this, let's take a simple thing like temperature. We had this temperature when the machine was in a certain state, or when we were working on a specific product, and so on. We gather this data, and then we try to find a pattern by using an algorithm which learns, okay, in which situation I had the correlation with the high temperature. And if this correlates with a breakdown, then we can predict in the future that, okay, when I have this high correlation together with this type of stoppages, it's very likely to lead to a breakdown.
Okay. I see the path here going towards the main directions of the European Union, the focus on sustainability and digitalization.
What I would like to add, sorry, here. So one thing is that, let's say that you predict using machine learning some failures or some bad situations in production. Then the question is how to react to these bad situations and how to handle them. And there comes into the picture then the next step, which is the planning part of the system, which and your target is to have a robust planning actually. So a planning that even if something bad happens, it has some room for managing the situation. And this is our smart planning part, which is able to take into consideration different risks and have a robust planning and also adapt if some anomalies in production are happening.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Yeah, so it's a lot targeted to reduce waste and cut time, inefficient time.
Yes, and also help people to make decisions, because you can imagine also that if you have some unexpected situations that can also generate stress in production, because you don't know what to do, mm-hmm. or how to react, or how to replan all your activities. And it helps you also to be less stressful by having a system that gives you alternatives, gives you some ideas about what you could do.
Think about it like a feedback loop. So you're getting data out of these processes, these machines. You are exposing the information, digested at the right granularity and levels. You are using all this information to react when things go bad. And then the next step is like to close the feedback loop and give automated suggestions of you might improve this to eliminate this waste. This is where we are heading actually.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Where are we heading? Like, okay, what is the next step? Let's say the factories get smarter and smarter. They implement digitalization. They respect more and more the norms of sustainability, and industry is becoming greener, more circular. Where is it heading?
For now, I think it's more about buzzwords, because a lot of industries, they are focused still on costs, not necessarily on being more sustainable, mm-hmm. and also on their image. Are they perceived as a company that is sustainable or not? Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think here it's still a lot to do. And where we can help in this process, or companies like ours, is to have a tool to measure these inefficiencies, and also to help to tackle at least some of them.
Mm-hmm. I believe let's say, at least for the big players now, but I believe this will be also the case for smaller players. Right now, their social responsibility and environmental responsibility directives and programs that they are adhering to are not so well transmitted down all the chain of suppliers they have. So maybe the big players, they are environmentally neutral or sustainable and so on, but in order to assure that your whole chain of suppliers will also adhere to your values, your corporate social responsibility programs, such tools might come in handy. Like you have adoption of one system for your whole chain of suppliers, then enforcement or tracking of how they are impacting the environment and their waste level and so on becomes much easier. Now, I would say it's next to impossible to track this.
Yeah, it's a very complex system, and you cannot track, for example, the components of a car, or a very complex piece of machinery. Like you have hundreds, maybe thousands of little pieces, and this means to track each one in part.
You can do something. Basically, what you could do, you could tax. So you can play with the tax system and tax different things at different levels, in order to stimulate to have more reusable stuff, or reduce the transportation from Europe to China, from China back again, and so on, to have these extremely complex supply chains that require a lot of transportation from A to B to C and back to A.
Yeah, it's a big thing even in marketing, and for consumers it's getting more and more acute, you know, to buy brands that are socially responsible, and even marketing is going sustainable. I know marketing agencies that only take sustainable brands. They they don't want to go into the traditional economy anymore, and just want to focus on building sustainability through their activity as well. So transparency of supply chain, carbon neutrality, big words, almost impossible to implement right now. The costs are enormous. Are costs the biggest problem of the factories right now?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Costs is one of the issue. One of the issues. Another issue is the lead time, and how fast are you to react to changes in the market. What's your level of flexibility? And this was a big issue, especially with the COVID, because it was very hard for companies to react to these complex supply chains. If something is stopped somewhere, it affects something totally different in another part. And this was a big challenge. And you would like to build systems that are more robust, that are not so easy disturbed by small storms.
Yeah, also personnel fluctuations. This is also something that factories typically have to react to just in time. And yeah, on the other side, I would put the adoption challenges. So you're asking what's the level of adoption of digitalization technologies for factories, and there are some challenges here too. Cost, of course, as we started, is one of them. Another one is, let's say, free capacity for new projects. Who will handle these implementations? And yeah, for this we are seeing a trend or a pattern. It would be great to encounter it more in our market also. The role of chief digital officer, so someone who by their department has the responsibility to seek out and implement these type of technologies like our offering.
It's the same in marketing as well.
Yeah, because many times such projects will end up in the responsibility of, let's say, I don't know, a production manager or a quality manager, someone who is already, let's say, overworked, not overworked, but full schedule, and then this type of projects will hit some hurdles.
So there's a lot of greenwashing in industry, not only in industry, but in marketing as well. What do we do about it?
Good question. I don't know. It's hard. We have all the things regarding fake news and so on. So those are hard to tackle. These, I guess, are even harder. Just more regulations, I guess, my opinion.
I would say social responsibility, because it starts from people. Like you can have all the regulations you want in place and so on, then it just kind of becomes like policing. Incentives for people, and yeah, recycle, go, I don't know, it's, let's say, yeah, what's your incentive to take your plastic bottles somewhere to recycle them and so on. Incentivizing this kind of action especially where it's not in, let's say, popular culture, it's not embedded yet. This is the way forward.
Yeah. I think in Ceausescu period, it was incentivized, and
Yeah,
it worked.
you as far as I remember, I only got like 5 years in that of lifetime in that period, but as far as I remember, you had mostly glass bottles, right? So
Yeah.
that might also be a solution.
I saw it in the
What?
movies. I was 6 when the regime fell, but I saw it in the movies, and I remembered what you said about incentivizing. But in the end, it's a matter of education of the public, because everybody's blaming the big brands that they're polluting. But as I said before, who's buying from them?
Yeah, but I think it's also about environment, because as much as you would like to educate people, it's also a lot about the environment where you are in. And I can give you an example. How hard would be for you to resist with some sweets in front of you for a couple of hours? So if you have the environment full of sweets around you,
The marshmallow test.
yeah, for example, it will be extremely hard for you to control yourself. So you need to build an environment where for people it's easy to handle these things. And for example, if you make it more expensive to use packages that are polluting, people will think twice when they buy if they see the product costs double. And you also don't allow them to show them directly the products that are causing harm to the environment and so on. You don't allow advertisements, for example, like you do with cigarettes and all this stuff. So I think it's not enough to try to educate people. You need to build an environment where it's hard or it provokes pain when you harm the environment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the industry is going digital, that's for sure. Has been going for some years now. It's going more embedded with AI and machine learning, and more towards sustainability and circularity. What is the impact of adopting digitalization and sustainability, not only for let's stop at the factories first of all. What is the impact? What are the benefits, like the first ones that you see?
Digitalization in itself, it's not a benefit. The benefit is what can you do with it? Mm-hmm. And that's the question, what can you do? And I would say that it depends a lot. So also in a factory, you can digitalize many aspects of the operations. We are focusing more on the manufacturing part, but you can also digitalize other areas. And what it can bring you is more data that helps you to take decisions that are less biased, for example. When you have poor data collection and you don't understand what's happening, which are the causes and so on, you are more biased and it's harder for you to take good decisions. So it helps a lot to have qualitative data and support decision-making process.
I see it like split in, let's say, 2 time frames. So short and medium terms, the impact of such technologies is that it will help everything operate more smoothly, more efficiently, less friction for the people, better efficiency. I mean, in a lot of aspects. Like Felix says, we are focusing on the shop floor, but there are a lot of functions in a factory that you will help and optimize with digitalization. But in the long term, and I think this is where the real game is, and where the market must start being conscious about the long-term game. And this is in in the direction of environmental impact and staying competitive in the market. Because, okay, let's say you're not a first early adopter, but as was the case, let's say with, I don't know, CRMs or accounting software or ERPs, there was a time where they were nice to haves, not must haves. So they became very quickly must haves. It's the same. It's the same with what we're doing. So in the long term, you will lose out and yeah, not be competitive in the market and socially and environmentally if you don't adhere to this, let's say, new wave.
And not only this, the complexity of the products that are made is still growing. And growing complexity means a lot more issues that could appear and a lot more type of issues that you have to deal with. And if you rely on only on people's minds and only on data that it's somewhere in the organization, you don't know where, or maybe on papers and so on, you have very high chances to do mistakes and take decisions that are harming the company in the long term. So basically, and after you collect all this data, let's say that it's with context and so on, then you can use it even further to predict some of the issues that can occur and use your historical historical data to adapt in real time based on your needs.
Mm-hmm. When you start using software like this, you get used to a mindset of optimization, of thinking how to improve things and processes. What kind of questions do arise?
Maybe the other way, you need to have the mindset of optimization to start to use this software. So in people that have a mindset of optimizations and they are motivated to have their things optimized are the people, the first adopters and the ones that are looking for such solutions because they need a tool. They realize when they try to optimize, oh, but how do I do it here? Because I don't have that data, I don't know what to do about this, and they feel the need.
They start from, let's say, deeper questions. So they start from things like, I'm paying this much per year for my production capacity. Am I really using this money? Am I putting this money to work? Or how much does 1 minute of machine breakdown really cost me? So they start there and then go into this other direction of where do I want to focus my efforts to get maximum impact from my optimization actions? And that's typically when you hit a wall. How do I measure where I should put in my efforts? I don't have the tools. Okay, let's start measuring, I don't know, by pen and paper or other traditional methods. Then you hit another hurdle. Oh, I'm not getting accurate readings here. What do I do? So then you come to this, let's say, final step. You're searching in the market for digitalization, for IT systems that will help you, like a tool. They are all tools.
So it's basically like a huge agile tool for optimizing processes.
I'd call it that, yes.
It's a very dynamic tool because it gives you real-time data and you get to change things during the run. So you don't wait until you end up to a point.
Yeah, and it also supports these improvement methodologies like what was it? The design, measure, implement, act. So it supports such methodologies that come from Lean, for example. From
Yeah, nice.
it's like also, maybe it's not the best analogy, but you can think about when you do sports, that you want to track your activity and see, did I run better? Did I run more today? How was it? Am I keeping my schedule? And you have the same in production.
Let's call it like a smartwatch for the factory floor. A smartwatch on the wrist of the factory.
Good one. So for common people like me who do not own a factory, what are the key questions to have an optimization mindset? Like, think it for common people, because it's a mindset that, in my opinion, I think it builds up and you start to expand it to your activity, to other things that you do in life. So what are the key questions?
The motivation first. What's your motivation?
What bugs me? What am I not happy about? What bugs me? What are my discontents with my workflows?
Yeah. So you start from your motivation, and then you start to search for solutions to fulfill your ambition.
I wouldn't say so. The first step is, in my opinion, not to search for solutions, but possible experiments that you could do to see how it works, because you won't find a solution immediately, but you start experimenting. I don't know. Maybe you're unhappy about how you organize your laundry for washing it in the washing machine. I don't know. That's your motivation. I'm not happy how I'm handling laundry. So then you come up with I don't know, some possible experiments. Maybe I split them into different baskets, different colors. I don't know.
And then is to build routines. So you make it easier for you to handle the situation. If you have good routines, then you don't have to think about it and you just do it. So
systems and workflows. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah, one of my favorite questions is, am I using my resources correctly?
It
depends. What does it mean for you to?
Like a general question. Let's not go very specific.
Is any of us using his or her resources correctly?
Yeah. Like not going shopping. We're not. Any great book recommendations that you have? A book that not necessarily related to your activity, but one that changed your mind.
Daniel Kahneman, Thinking Fast and Slow.
Good one.
Yeah. For
it
me,
was on the show before.
Yeah, I think it's quite good because it reminds you of how many biases you have as a person, and when you can rely on yourself, and when it's best to take a step back and think twice if you can rely. And that's also about data, right? Because sometimes you need the data to help you in order to take better decisions, and also to build a better environment around you to take decisions. If it's about financial decisions or other decisions, I think it's extremely important to have the mindset that you are prone to some kind of biases.
Yeah, for me, something that I liked lately was a book by Greg McCown, Essentialism, the Disciplined Pursuit of Less. And basically this puts into perspective that, okay, we actually live in an environment where you get bombarded by information, you get bombarded by requests, opportunities, and so on. And we should recognize that it's virtually impossible to fulfill all these requests or all things that you would be tempted to put your effort into, and reevaluate and go for the ones that really will have impact, and that the ones that also matter to you, not only impact as an outcome, because maybe some things that are all the things that are also meaningful to you to make an impact in. So
where you can truly make a difference.
yeah, and make a difference between, I don't know, working for 5 hours but fully focused and working for 10 hours but on, I don't know, 20 things and not fully focused. So this book's thesis is basically go for the 5 hours.
So essentialism and thinking fast and slow. Thank you. Thank you. I'll check essentialism out. Yeah, maybe I'll understand more about optimization, which is a subject that honestly preoccupies me. Thank you very much for
Thank you.
accepting the invitation and for this wonderful talk. Wishing you all the best of luck. And yeah, keep in touch.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us here today, Wana.